Life gives us several different forms of capital to spend from birth to death, and it's interesting to consider how some of them seem to operate. For example, there's the capital of youth, which is simply spent automatically through the course of years as our time winds away, and youth passes by, and it can be spent well or it can be misspent. A well-spent youth is one where we're appreciating and enjoying the time while we have it and not living unnecessarily in the future, too far in the future. A poorly spent youth might be one where we're anticipating so far ahead that we let all the beauty of the young years pass without noticing them or taking as much heed of them as we might otherwise do. Another currency that can be spent poorly or well is the currency of health. Good health can be parceled out over the years and enjoyed and appreciated, or spent recklessly. Foolish activities and disregarding the welfare of our body can result in poor health at an early age. We can spend it quickly, like drawing all the money out of a bank account and be left with a body racked with pains and aches. So too, there are other types of currency that we can spend. Thinking of currency as some sort of a capital that we have from birth. Now, these currencies aren't parceled out evenly, and we don't exactly know how long we'll have each of them. Some of us don't live for very long, and obviously our currency was spent quickly. Some of us have very long lives, in which case we have more to spend. So it's hard to know exactly how much you have. But one of the more curious types of currency that I was just thinking of, look at the blossoms coming. You see this? Blossoms here, the yellow ones, and we have the pink back there. I'm pretty sure those are plums, pink and white, or peach blossoms. Plums, peach, one or the other. February in Japan. Well, one of the more curious types of currency is the currency of pride. Pride is a very strange type of currency. It's something that I don't know exactly when it first manifests itself. I don't know if the self-indulgence and self-centeredness of an infant can be considered pride, but certainly the willful young man or woman marching out of high school into the world expecting the world's acclaim would be an example of pride manifesting itself at a fairly young age. And that tends to be the case, not always with everybody, but a lot of young people, especially moving from their teens into their 20s, march into the world looking for some avenue of appreciation, some avenue of if not fame, at least recognition and appreciation in life. And that's pride manifesting itself. And pride gets spent in a strange way. Having those ambitions achieved and succeeding at them, for example, realizing your ambition to become famous or to become recognized in some way, doesn't always yield the result that one might be after, because anyone that's experienced that, even to a small degree, knows that it's an empty victory. It's a hollow reward. It only leaves you wanting more. And success for success's sake, for success as an end in itself, is worth very little. So pride in one's achievements and one's acts leaves one feeling empty in many ways. There's many good things about achievement, and I'm not saying we shouldn't try or strive after things, but pride is spent. It's spent as its value is recognized as meaning less and less over time. What I mean by that is that as we live our lives and we have more and more events where the seeking after pride should reward us with a pleasurable sensation, and we find that we're simply left feeling empty, then our value in pride becomes less. We recognize it as not as important as it used to be. And over time, we seek after it less as an end of itself, and we start looking for other things. I think this is why so few oldsters indulge in activities or endeavors that are self-serving. old people tend to care less about, maybe that wasn't well put, but old people tend to care less about their own acclaim. They tend to care less about their own reputation and recognition. Of course, there are exceptions, but for the most part, that type of a thing, that type of a fussiness over one's reputation, or fussiness over one's fame is the domain of young people for the most part. Old people seem to give that up. So as pride gets spent, as we succeed and recognize nothing more than success itself in success, we become less satisfied with success as an end in itself. We become less satisfied with seeking after pride and being the center of the center of acclaim, and we find something else. Pride, as it is spent in this strange way, gives way to humility. So humility is the gain that really comes from well-spent pride. Now, isn't that strange? Isn't that a strange thing that humility is achieved by the spending of something that is pretty much the opposite, by seeking after our own welfare, our own vanity's welfare. We wind up often at humility's doorstep. A very, very strange thing, and I didn't do a very good job of explaining it. But probably because it's a very hard thing to conceptualize, to imagine how the seeking after pride can lead to humility. Yet in the end, if we can do that, one danger is that if you got to care, you're not guaranteed to wind up at humility's doorstep if you seek in the spending of pride. The spending of pride can leave one broken and empty. There's lots of broken souls along the road of life who were never able to I don't want to say make the connection, disassociate themselves from the pride itself and look and see humility waiting for them. Don't know why necessarily they end up broken. And can you do a little of both? Can you end up broken and finding humility at the same time? I think so. So as we move along through our 20s and into our 30s, and our concern, our fussiness over our own image becomes less apparent and less of an issue, don't despair that you failed at what you're trying to achieve. Perhaps instead you found something better. Look at this little garden here. Someone's great success in tending this little garden right here. A little humble little garden that'll be blooming in another month or so. I think that illustrates well the point of humility's aim through the spending of pride. Take care, everybody.